Good morning and welcome everybody to the Crypto Mining Show, your one-stop shop for all cryptocurrency news from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. I go by Blind Run on the internet and Matthew in real life, and today we're going to talk about all the fun stuff, including but not limited to, of course, Ergo and the current implementation of EIP 37 and how it's looked in the first 24 hours or so. We're going to be talking about some announcements surrounding Ergo and Flux as well, which I think we've covered for the most part, but looks like more stuff is coming down the pipeline. We're also going to be talking about Bitcoin miners and their hash rate increasing. We have not only miner Merkle going up by 900%, but we also have Argentina's state-owned energy company moving into crypto mining. Like I said before, one of the biggest issues with cryptocurrency mining, especially when it pertains to Bitcoin, is that the margins are super low, and if mining or if power companies want to basically invade the space and take it over, they're kind of in the best position to do so. And unfortunately, this does seem to be the path that we are taking. So it's definitely important to pay attention to. We also have a few other releases to cover, and then we will get into mining profitability at the end of the show. This evening, I will be headed over, or this afternoon, I will be headed over to the mining conference in Round Rock, Texas, if you're going to be there, or, you know, if you're in the area and want to sit down and hang out, something like that, ping me. Maybe I'll have some time. Just say hello if you see me, and we'll be out there. I think it's, so this evening all the way through Friday. So going to be out there all week. I'll get a mobile set up, so don't worry, the show will still be going on. If there's things happening at the time, you know, at the time that we would normally do the show, we'll shift the show around time-wise, and I'll let you guys know. You know, I'm kind of like a free spirit. I don't plan out videos a week ahead of time. You know, I don't get my itinerary all set. Maybe I should. It's just not the way I really work. So, you know, if I'm out there and I find somebody I want to interview, I do have 3 interviews sort of tentative, but, you know, if I find one, I'm going to take that opportunity, and that's kind of the way we're going to roll with it. Other than that, yeah, we did start a little bit late today. Apologies. I was leveling my Ret Paladin, my Dwarf Ret Paladin, Retribution Paladin, and Wrath of the Lich King over on twitch.tv/blindrun. And even when I shut that down, I kept doing it because I wanted to complete this group quest to get a new axe. And yeah, that's what I did. So let's get into all that and more right after a word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is BT Miners. Purchasing mining equipment online can be dangerous. With all of the fake storefronts and scams, it can be hard to find a reliable source. That's why when BT Miners reached out for a channel sponsorship, I started by verifying that ordering and delivery went smoothly with the purchase of my own. If you are looking to purchase ASICs hardware from Bitcoin to Dogecoin miners, they are available for purchase on bt-miners.com. BT Miners is a trusted source by both ASICMinerValue.com and CryptoMiner.com. Follow the affiliate link in the description and tell them Soat sent you to support the channel. And welcome back. So first things first, we do have a new miner release from Team Red Miner. Version 0.10.4. They're introducing a single algo Caspa GPU mining option. And it says, at the time of writing, the expected performance increase is 4 to 8% above existing AMD miners at about the same power. It will depend on your GPU type and tuning. A follow-up release will add dual mining R mode for Ethereum and CAS, so ETH hash and CAS. And so that should be interesting. Now, it will have a 1% fee on the Caspa algo for the mining. And then they added a simpler way of forcing hash rate reports for Capal and Firo proof of work. And they fixed missing hash rate reports in some cases for Capal and Firo proof of work with mining pools. Seems like this is not the first miner to add, you know, basically the ability to just solo mine Caspa. I think, in my humble opinion, I wish that would have been focused on before doing the dual mining, but I understand the allure of doing the dual mining first, because everybody was looking for more profitability, especially post-merge. However, you know, it was coming out at a time when it was still pretty hot outside. And I think getting, a single miner option for Caspa would have been nice earlier on from some of these mining software. Or these mining softwares, yeah. So that's kind of my thought behind it. But I mean, at the same time, it doesn't matter as long as at the end of the day, you do end up getting that as an option. Personally, I just mine Caspa and I don't do any dual mining. It's too hot to trot outside, but it's not too hot to find yourself it is too hot to find yourself a new Firo mobile wallet. There is a new one that launched. So just as a PSA for anybody that is curious, the Firo mobile wallet version 0.1.21 has launched, and so this is the native Firo mobile wallet that uses the Lelantis privacy technology by default, and it's currently supported for Android only, with an iOS version coming soon. They improved sync and restoration time, a hide mnemonic during the restore option, or it does hide it during the restore option. And then it does say work in progress is the iOS version, privacy improvements in the way of Light Wallet retrieves data and inbuilt coin swap features. So if you're just staying up to date, I try to make sure that, I cover even stuff like this if it is out there and getting released and it comes across the desk. Just a quick mention. Doesn't mean that I support Firo. It doesn't mean that I'm mining Firo. It's just because if the community is participating in it, then I'd like everybody to make sure they don't miss out on an update. Now, one of the cool things that's been going on recently, I think in general, is kind of this cross partnership with, or not cross, but a cross chain kind of participation in governance as it pertains to Neta. If you guys aren't familiar with Neta, a Neta BTC is going to be the wrapped Bitcoin option on Ergo, but they are also wrapping Bitcoin over on Cardano. So what is interesting here is that they have basically a vote to take place right now. You can vote, like for example, I am staking some Neta BTC. So I can go in here and I can vote on basically this particular governance option, but it's cross-chain. So if you are on Cardano for a Neta BTC or Ergo, you can vote, and it's weighted essentially pretty close to the same. And now I don't know if this has been done before, like as far as cross-chain governance. I'm pretty sure maybe it has been. But this is kind of the first that I've seen, especially as it pertains to Ergo, so I find it interesting. And you can vote at vote.anetabtc.io. You just come here if you're doing Ergo, which most of us will be because we're GPU miners. You click that, and then it'll come into here, and you can connect your wallet. And then the vote is basically, should the Neta Liquidity Fund use 5% of its Ergo to acquire SIG-USD or Spectrum DEX? So they're basically allowing you to vote essentially on what the actual liquidity funds will be allocated towards. And that's a really interesting one or wait, not which one, but if they should acquire 5% on Spectrum DEX. So if you think that they should, you can come in here and vote. Now, I would probably lean towards, excuse my little P mess up there. I would probably lean towards the fact that this might not pass because I think Neta is a little bit more popular on the Ergo side of things. I could be on the Cardano side of things, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm not sure. While I know Charles Hoskinson loves Sigma protocols and blah, 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 and maybe the Cardano community gets behind it, it is still the Cardano community basically voting to take 5% of the liquidity fund and store it in a algorithmic stable coin on the other blockchain, not Cardano, but Ergo. And there seems to be so many red flags, I think, from like if I was a Cardano holder of a Neta, I'm just thinking like from their perspective, right? I'd be like, no, first of all, algorithmic stable coins haven't been performing that well, right? Be gun shy over that. And second of all, it's not on the chain that I'm really backing, which is Cardano, right? And so at that point, I'd probably vote against it. So would I think that this gets passed? No, but we'll have to pay attention and watch. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I mean, these are the two glaring issues I see with it personally. That means it probably wouldn't pass, but I could be completely wrong. Also, I'm drinking some C4, but I think I got like some super powerful C4. And you guys ever get the tingle in your face from C4? I just got it. It's rough. We'll get through it. My face is on fire. Exhibitron is doing a vote. So I wanted to bring this up as well. You guys know that we've been basically kind of not spec mining, but sort of spec mining Radiant. It does have some listings. Right now, they're going through a vote over on Exhibitron to get listed on Exhibitron. If you are holding some Radiant and have been mining it, this would be a positive for the price action and price discovery for Radiant. So go check it out. Just want to do a quick mention. The link will be down in the description below. And like I said, pretty much I'm trying to, even if it's like a small coin with a small news item, I want to try to cover it all at the beginning and just kind of knock out a whole bunch of them. So in the future, I think you'll start to notice that we're going to try to blow through a lot of announcements like this, you know, like, hey, voting's live, you know, here for listings, voting's live here for governance. We got these releases, you know, new releases for mobile or wallets, new releases for, you know, mining software, and then kind of bing, bang, boom. Here's all the links. Go figure it out and check it out for yourself so that you can get that done. And then if there's things that need to be like more discussed in depth, they'll be later on in the show. But I want to make sure that you guys are able to find everything that you're looking for. So, you know, if those pop up, you know, that's kind of why we're blowing through them though. And kind of the thought process behind it. Now, Flux and Ergo swapping will begin within the next 48 hours as well. Speaking of announcements. And it says, keep in mind, there will be a significant impact if everyone starts swapping at once. Take your time, and you may get errors claiming until the chain catches up. And thanks for all your understanding. I think what they're really talking about there is the chain catching up, specifically because of, you know, I think we're still in a spot, and we're going to be reviewing it here in just a tad, where there are block time unpredictabilities within Ergo itself, and that's just due to the nature of the way the difficulty adjustment works. However, I think overall, after monitoring it for the past 24 hours, it is looking better. We'll discuss that more after this, but obviously I think bringing up that you are going to have that option for the swapping availability is going to be great. Another note to that is it does look like, you know, obviously this means GetBlock can do smart pools, which is amazing. I could have sworn, I think I dreamed it because I was trying to look up maybe one of you guys can find it for me. I could have sworn that I saw an announcement of a smart pool for Flux on GetBlock, or I dreamed it. And for some reason I feel crazy and I can't find the link to it again. But, and then I was like, oh shoot, I can't find it today. I was going to talk about it and then it's not here. If I dreamed it, then that'd be pretty hilarious too. I'm pretty sure that is going to happen regardless. So, you know, what the perks will be, etc., are yet to be seen. Yeah, so Daniel Keller says in chat, yes, we will have a smart pool. I swear I saw it and I couldn't find the link for the life of me. So I'll append this description later on down the line. In the description, I'll have the link. Hopefully Daniel or somebody can send that or tag me. My tags and mentions have gotten a little crazy on Twitter too. So I did want to say, I guess because of everything that we've been covering and all the, you know, posting that's been going on, I can't really there's too much. I'm going to be completely honest. There's too much. If you want me to see something and you have access to locals, post it on locals. The likelihood, really all that's going to happen on Twitter if you tag me is probably you'll end up in an argument with some other dude that has, that has like 0 followers or something. So I can't get through it right now at this point. So apologies. And then kind of back off on it as well. So post and ghost, boys, post and ghost. We'll be discussing more stuff over on, I think, locals. It's just an easier platform for me. So next is we're going to be talking about Argentina after I drink this. Fire. So this is like, man, this is completely antithetical to the fundamentals of Bitcoin and is also in the exact direction that I was expecting it to go. I'm about to be at a conference with a bunch of Bitcoin maximalists as self-described when I talk to them on the phone. So this should be extremely interesting because, we've always on this channel kind of pushed towards GPU mining. Why is that? Because GPU mining sticks closer to the fundamentals of Bitcoin than ASIC mining. As far as from the one CPU, one vote ideals, right? And why that is important is because centralization of hash power at an early stage obviously means security risks, right? But at the later stage means that you end up in a position where you do just have traditional fiat issues where the top 1% control a majority of the currency and, give the little guy some crumbs. And the fact of the matter is not only are we now seeing energy companies participate in essentially cryptocurrency mining, which prices out everybody else in existence, but on top of that, now it's a state-owned energy company. Argentina's state-owned energy company moves into crypto mining, and this is just, I'm sorry, Bitcoin maxis, but this is the exact thing you claim to defeat, right? Like, this doesn't bode well for the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and maybe we do need to find a way to push back towards the one CPU, one vote ideals, right? YPF is currently supplying power for a 1 megawatt operation and plans to launch a second project 8 times larger before the end of the year. YPF, Argentina's state-owned energy company, is supplying power to an undisclosed international crypto mining company, the firm said on Sunday. The renewable energy arm of YPF Luz, 3 months ago, commenced a 1 megawatt pilot operation that provides power generated from waste gas left over from oil production. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? As far as the technology goes, YPF Luz CEO Martin Mondrano, something like that, told the national news agency Telam. The project is located in southern Argentina in an area known for its shale oil and gas resources called Vaca Muerta, the dead cow. The company plans to open a second pilot, this one 8 megawatts in size, before the end of the year, Mondrano said. I can't roll that R after that A. I'm terrible at it. I can't do it. We started to develop this generation pilot for cryptocurrency mining with a vision of sustainability and business from flare natural gas, which cannot be harnessed during the exploration and at the beginning of the production of an oil field, Mondrano added. In June, Crusoe Energy, a privately held U.S. company that pioneered Bitcoin mining by using wasted natural gas as a power source, announced it was expanding to Oman and Abu Dhabi after receiving investments from the sovereign wealth funds of those two countries. And obviously, like I said, the problem is like they've become the very thing, like Bitcoin mining has essentially become the very thing that they were, like Bitcoin was created to defeat to a certain extent. State-owned power companies just basically having a monopoly on it, and the people aren't ever going to be able to compete. It's just not something that you can compete with, because at the end of the day, like you are just talking about economies of scale, and unless you are an individual that has access to the scaling portion of this, like a power company has, there's no way to combat it. There's no way to distribute it more evenly. I mean, outside of like trying to build initiatives where you maybe build, miners into people's heating systems in their homes or something. But other than that, it's just kind of, we've talked about ASIC mining and why we are against it. It's hard not to point this out when it's so blatant that this is what's happening at this point. The positive for Bitcoin, right? Because I still have to you're obviously always going to have pros and cons. And the positive for Bitcoin, at least from the perspective of how it combats this at the end of the day, is that it does still end up being a Trojan horse from the perspective of a limited supply cap. So, I mean, you do have basically this idea that it's so enticing to, the state and banks that they invest in it, but as they invest in it, they drive the value of it up for everybody else that is holding it. And that's a lot better than something like a fiat currency where, the banks buy up a bunch of it, buy a bunch of assets, print more money there, and then devalue all of your money that they just bought from you and increase the value of their assets, which is what, traditional finance does over and over again. Yes, we are combating that. But we are still running into essentially the top 1% economies of scale issue as it pertains to the mining and the production of Bitcoin, right? And that's kind of where I sit back and I go, I don't know how to fix this, right? If I look at it completely objectively, I don't know how to fix it, and I don't know what fixes it, and I'm not even sure it's fixable. So do we just take the wins where we can? Yeah, probably at this point we just take the wins where we can. That doesn't mean we don't call it out. That doesn't mean we don't point it out. That doesn't mean we don't strive for something better, right? Because that is the entire point of life, is to strive for something better, point these things out and try to push people in the proper direction. It just means to a certain extent, yes, not to be completely defeated, but there is no way for me to build, at this point, an energy company that's going to compete and then bring it back to the masses. I don't know how you would do that. I mean, I think maybe I am just, complaining too much, and I need to get out there and start some sort of decentralized autonomous organization that facilitates getting a Bitcoin miner in the hands of every single individual in the United States. And that's really where we start there. And we just get USB miners for everybody. You get a USB miner, and say, just plug it in, solo mine, and play the lottery. And that's how you sell it, right? We just say, look, you're going to play the lottery. If you hit it, and you make 6 figures. That'd be cool. By no means should you, under any circumstances, mine to a pool, right? Just educate people in that way. Almost just program it to literally you put in your Bitcoin wallet address. It points you to a single node, and it solo mines. And if it hits it, it just pays out to your mining address, and that's how you incentivize people. You basically just start selling Bitcoin lottery tickets. And that way you decentralize the network. I don't know. Ideas. I'm trying to think of solutions here. You guys let me know. And more hash rate. Bitcoin miner Merkle increases their hash rate by 900% in 8 months, my friends. Bitcoin miner Merkle increases hash rate by 900% in 8 months. The miner currently has 140 megawatts of total computing power in its 2 facilities. Look at all those liquid cooled XPs. Bitcoin miner Merkle Standard, which has a joint venture with Bitmain, one of the world's largest Bitcoin mining rig manufacturers, increased its total computing power or hash rate to 3.1 exahash a second from about 0.3 exahash a second over the last 8 months. Holy moly guacamole, that is a ton of hash rate very quickly in the bear market. Kind of great timing. You gotta say, I gotta say they had this planned out pretty well. obviously working with, a joint venture with Bitmain, probably meaning that, Bitmain was like, we're done with these. The bull run's over. Do you want them? They're like, yeah, we'll get them super cheap from Bitmain. And that's their joint venture with Bitmain. But we got the power. You got the units. Deploy. This is like, from a project management standpoint, right? That's pretty impressive to get that much of an increase of hash rate out in 8 months. The privately held miner has brought an additional 40 megawatts of mining capacity in its South Carolina facility, bringing its total mining capacity to 140 megawatts, according to a statement on Monday. The site will be mining Bitcoin using Bitmain's latest mining rigs, the S19J Pro and the S19 XP. The crypto winter has clearly been rough for miners, who have seen profit margins shrink as Bitcoin price plunged more than 50% this year, while power prices soared and capital dried up. However, some miners, such as Merkle, have continued to build up their facilities during the bear market to solidify their position when the market eventually returns. The Blue Ridge in South Carolina is Merkle's second facility and estimated to have 80 megawatts worth of mining capacity by the end of 2024, according to its website. Meanwhile, Merkle's main mining site in eastern Washington currently has 100 megawatts of power online, with 225 megawatts slated for 2023 year end and a maximum expansion capacity of 500 megawatts. Merkle previously said on January 21st that it had executed a purchase agreement with Bitmain for 13,500 ASIC miners, consisting of both S19 XP and S19J Pro mining rigs, of which, I guess the XPs, are here. For the liquid cooled ones, at this point, how are you going to compete with that? Will that make them one of the largest? That makes them very large. I think that I gotta go Google that. What is the largest Bitcoin miner right now? That's kind of hard to find. I'm going to do some research on this later on. I can't remember. I've seen the charts before. I know Riot's pretty big, but I don't remember how much they have. Do you guys remember how much Riot has? .2 exahash. So Riot blockchain has 4.2 exahash, which means that, in 8 months, Merkle got to about 75% of what Riot's at, which is pretty incredible overall. Okie dokie, let's talk about Ergo. I've been watching Ergo, obviously, a lot. Excuse me. I really shouldn't. Look, Wrath of the Lich King is addictive, and I probably need to work on that vice, because otherwise we're going to be staying up way too late every night. It's a problem. I forgot how much of a... I forgot how much of a problem World of Warcraft is. Whoopsies! What did you do all night? I was just skinning and leatherworking. Skinning and leatherworking. You know what I mean? Why? No particular reason. Does it do anything for me? I don't know. I'm really tired. I gotta do jujitsu. So, wow. Okay, there's a lot to parse out for Ergo at this point, right? So EIP 37 went through. Along with that came a pretty nice price pump, right? Over the past 7 days, we're up 7% on Ergo, which is at $2.89. And the hash rate kind of doubled, essentially, from like 25 terahash a second to 50 terahash a second, right? It's coming back down now. We'll talk about that, but we definitely did see basically a doubling of the hash rate. Nowhere near what we saw, right pre-merge, or right post-merge, where we hit 250 terahash a second, which I feel like you would need to see to know if this fully fixed it, right? Because EIP 37, at the end of the day, it keeps the system intact as far as like how it works. All it does is speed it up, right? So as opposed to it happening every 1,024 blocks, it happens every 128 blocks. And the measured time is also shortened. So that's basically being shortened by 87%. This does seem to, I mean, it clearly has an effect to where it is harder to game, but that doesn't mean that people aren't gaming it, right? And that's kind of like, you could see it happening yesterday. I'll kind of show you here. At least attempting to game it. What I saw was like, essentially, you could see it kind of, it would go up, you know, drop off here, go back to 15, kind of build back up, go to 54, drop off. The next epoch, so this is like every other epoch, right? And it's almost, so this first one looks like it's being gamed by a large farm. The rest of these actually just look like miners not knowing what's going on, really. And why is that? Because, like, it slowly comes off as it's not profitable, as profitable. And then the next epoch hits, and it shoots back up. And then it comes back down, and it shoots back up. And this one was interesting. It kind of, people were like, okay, we're going to let it go back up, and then back down, and then shoots back up. And now we've it kind of hit its max difficulty, and it's kind of slowly come back down. So this just seems like miners are testing out if they're going to remain profitable. The problem is that kind of messes, and this is where we're really looking at right now. Yeah, right now we're in the shit. You know, like when people say like we're in the shit, this is in the shit for blockchain, okay? This is what we want to demonstrate, okay? The problem that I am paying attention to with Ergo. So the way the difficulty adjustment is supposed to function is it's supposed to slow down or speed up, essentially, or basically reduce or increase the difficulty to slow down or speed up the block times, with the target block time being 2 minutes, which is 120 seconds. And what happens when a bunch of hash rate comes onto the network is, instead of adjusting difficulty right away, it basically speeds up the block times, right? So the block times are reduced because more hash rates on the network at an easier time, right? So it speeds it up, and then at that point, that means that your next epoch is going to hit quicker. That does mean that the more hash rate on the network, the faster you will have a difficulty adjustment in relation to the difficulty being too low. The problem is that you get the inverse of that, and that's what we can demonstrate here, meaning that when the difficulty is high, right, and miners jump off, the block times are increased. Once again, the problem with this is not profitability for GPU miners. The problem with this is usability of the network when you're wanting to do things like DeFi on Spectrum or participate with an Ergo pad for staking, these types of things, right? The end user experience, if your block times are varying between 30 seconds to like a few minutes, can be a little frustrating and confusing. We've seen this a ton of times when people were on even Ethereum, and while Ethereum was pretty close to like 40 seconds, you know, at a time, people would get a little frustrated with it because they'd be like, oh, my transactions are taking forever. If they're going to really, really take forever because essentially we're having this problem happen over and over again, then I don't know. It's not near as bad as it was pre-EIP 37. Right now, for example, we're only at about 29 seconds. It was just at like, what was that? 30 seconds over the intended block time. So 2.5 minutes instead of 2 minutes for the target block time. And that is because the difficulty shot up to 7.5p, obviously due to the fact that our hash rate hit 70 terahash a second, right around there. I don't know why my mouse isn't pulling it up. And then, you know, we're 20 or so, you know, 24, 25 terahash below that. So the difficulty has to adjust another 2.5p down, which means that essentially there's not enough hash rate for how difficult the network is for it to hit 2-minute block times. Now, here's where profitability matters, and obviously much better than what pre-EIP37, to the point to where really, honestly, I think this is working. I think this is working out pretty well, but you still do have kind of this weird thing going on here. And here's where there is potential problems in the future. And that is that there's a clear incentive to gamify the difficulty on Ergo to benefit very large mining farms. So why is that? Well, if you have a low difficulty and you know that the difficulty is not going to adjust for 128 blocks, and you can basically figure out how much of that hash rate you can speed up, you can deploy hash rate onto there, speed it up via a script, make additional, right, earn additional Ergo, and then drop off, making the actual network less profitable for the, I guess, the loyal miners, or however you want to say it. And this was the initial worry about all the hash rate coming onto the K1 solo pool. It looks, at least to me, like with a huge influx that we had up to 70 terahash and coming down, that it's adjusted out pretty well. Like I said, 154 second block times, when we're in the shit, is a lot better than the, up to 20-minute block times that we're seeing pre-EIP37. I don't think that means that we're fully out of it yet. I think that it definitely requires some more monitoring, especially if there are going to be, like these rumors of FPGAs coming onto the network and so on. I don't know the validity to that exactly at this time, but definitely going to want to pay attention to how it's functioning. As a miner, you want to be extremely careful because your mining profitability is going to vary heavily, right? And when the epochs are slowed down like they are right now, you can see that initially it happened very quickly, right? So, if you're a miner that's just setting it and forgetting it, between, 1540 here and 1800, about 3 hours, yeah, you're not as profitable as you are on this uptick between 1300 and 1600 hours, right? But, it's not terrible. It's about 3 hours. So then it resets in another 3 hours. As you can see, that got longer once we got to 70 terahash. Instead of 3 hours, how long is it taken for the hash rate to come back down? Well, we're at 200 hours to, 10. So that's 6.5 hours now before the hash rate starts averaging out. This means that, like, for the smaller miners, while it won't report very well in what to mine, right? Because what to mine's not tracking this as well in what is actually happening with the block time slowing down. It means that now that we hit this 71 terahash a second, pretty much all the loyal miners are kind of unprofitable for now 6 hours. So we've kind of doubled the time, right? Now the question is how does that scale? If we went to 140 terahash a second, does that mean that we have a 12-hour period of unprofitability due to how much more that slows down the block times? These are the questions I have. Theoretically, yes, that will happen. If it spiked to 140 terahash a second, we could expect a time of unprofitability and slow block times to last for up to 12 hours, right? If we saw that go up to 250, it would be about a day, right? So that would end up resulting in a weird network problem still, because what we would end up having is essentially miners turning on every other day to hit the block rewards for an hour to 3 hours and then shut off for a day and move to a different coin to mine. So this is kind of like what I'm paying attention to. Hopefully you guys see exactly what I'm talking about, where the concerns are. Like, you can clearly see that when we went from 50 terahash to 70 terahash, that the hash rate coming off of the network slowed down and our block time slowed down and the adjustment slowed down, right? But it's much better. Like I said, I think for the most part this seems to have fixed it. But as a miner, you're going to want to pay attention, because your profitability from that like hour and a half to 3 hours is going to look a lot better than your profitability for the next 6 hours, right? So you have to average all of that out. And I don't think what to mine's really going to do that for you. In fact, I'm pretty certain right now what to mine won't do that for you. Q miners has taken back over as far as most hash rate by quite a lot. And the profitability is up. Or not profitability, sorry, the price is up. So that's all we got to do for Ergo. Let's go ahead and get into mining profitability for the day right after a word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is BT Miners. Purchasing mining equipment online can be dangerous. With all of the fake storefronts and scams, it can be hard to find a reliable source. That's why when BT Miners reached out for a channel sponsorship, I started by verifying that ordering and delivery went smoothly with the purchase of my own. If you are looking to purchase ASICs hardware from Bitcoin to Dogecoin miners, they are available for purchase on bt-miners.com. BT Miners is a trusted source by both ASICMinerValue.com and CryptoMiner.com. Follow the affiliate link in the description and tell them SOT sent you to support the channel. Oh yeah. Thanks everybody for sticking through and checking out today's sponsor. My Elgato key light's not really working, so we're gonna roll with it. All right, so we got an RTX 3090 with corrected ZIL hash, ProgPal, KPAL, and Fira proof of work hash rates at 10 cents a kilowatt hour. Pretty much, yeah, I mean, nothing's profitable as we've been looking at, at 10 cents a kilowatt hour. Rio is losing 12 cents a day. Flux is losing 18 cents a day. Bitcoin Gold's losing 20 cents a day. Vertcoin's losing 21 cents a day. Ergo's losing 23 cents a day. This is at current profit as well, by the way. Sarah's losing 25 cents a day. We scroll down here. Fira, which we talked about a little bit today with the new wallet launch, is losing 31 cents a day. Ravencoin losing 32 cents a day. And Ethereum Classic losing 40 cents a day. Ethereum Fair losing 43 cents a day, and Ethereum Proof of Work losing 44 cents a day. Caspa losing 48 cents a day. And that pretty much rounds it out. We are looking at pretty much nothing being profitable right now. So I know as far as everything is concerned with, GPU mining, etc., there is the idea that you just shut off and you take the money and buy the coin. Obviously, this is going to have to shake out. A lot of people within mining are going to have to sell out, sell their rigs, stop mining. A lot of hash rate's going to have to come off the network, and the market's going to have to find its new balance. That's what's happening right now. I don't expect that, like I've said, I will keep saying it, I don't expect that balance to happen for at least 6 months. I think March. It could be even longer than that, right? So your options are to shut off and be patient and see how that market shakes out, or to sell your equipment and just buy the coin. I think if you sell the equipment and buy the coin, you're going to be holding a lot longer. I still also don't think that holding coin is a good idea because, there's no revenue generation potential there. And that's because I do adhere closely to the rich dad, poor dad thoughts behind it. Now, there are arguments for nodes, etc. The only downside for that, of course, is that you are invested in a single coin, so you have a single point of failure. But, it's not like GPU mining, is profitable at all. Whereas, running some nodes right now, depending on which node you pick, can be profitable. So there you go. Let's go ahead and look at the hash rates coming onto the network. Bitcoin obviously had a bump in hash rate over the past week. We saw that happening. It's at 261 exahash a second. Probably to a certain extent related to the Merkle hash rate coming online. Also, temperatures are cooling down outside. I think we're going to start seeing hash rate follow the summer-winter cycle of the United States as opposed to the rainy season cycle of the, of China. Now, there is, of course, the elephant in the room, which is all of a sudden now 16% of the hash rate is going to be in Kazakhstan and powered by Russia. How fast will that increase? And then will we end up having some sort of competition between Russia and the United States for Bitcoin hash power? It was the hash wars, 2025. Russia was sending all of their energy to Kazakhstan, a bordering nation. When the UN was like, join NATO, Kazakhstan. Bro, I better stop manifesting. Shit's going to get weird. All right. Better stop manifesting or it's going to get weird real fast. All right. So Ethereum Classic still sitting around the 160 terahash a second. No real changes. Ethereum proof of work down 2.5% over the past 7 days and at 49.64 terahash a second. And Ethereum Fair at 7 terahash a second. Looking good as far as all of that is concerned. No real changes. Taking a look at the Raven coin, boys. We're down 6.64% over the past 7 days and at 17 terahash a second. And of course, our Fluxers coming out here, fluxing hard with 6.32 mega solutions a second. Actually, a little bit down, but like I said, I think it's like Flux, Ravencoin, Neoxa, stuff like that. Like, you got that bouncy hash rate, probably due to GPU boost. Unfortunately, kind of the nature of the beast. And speaking of Neoxa, everybody's favorite proof of game coin, it's down 43% over the past 7 days and at 1.64 terahash a second. And then we got the little boys, Caspa, which is down 50% over the past week and is at 133 terahash a second. And Radiant, which is down 22% over the past 7 days and at 24.5 terahash a second. Bing, bang, boom. This was supposed to be something different. There we go. Give me my... Oh, I'm not logged in anymore? All right, well, we'll worry about this later then. ASIC miner profitability. Antminer L7 in first place at $16.59 a day, $17.52 a day on mining rig rentals. iPolo V1 at $10.64 a day on mining rig rentals. Probably not anywhere close to that in reality. The ETH hash coins are showing weird on mining rig rentals, and I don't trust them at all. I would expect like $3 a day on ETH hash for the iPolo V1. Same with the Jazzminer X4. I know some people were talking about the G1, the iPolo G1 Grin coin, $8.18 a day. And, that's not looking too shabby. Not too shabby. But, of course, you are stuck on just Grin coin. I think the Antminer L7 makes a lot more sense because you do have script. Not only do you have access to the most amount of ASIC coins available, but you have access to merge mining, which allows you to mine two script coins at the same time, which is super, super beneficial compared to pretty much any other ASIC on the market. And that's kind of how I look at it personally. The Gold Shell KD6 is at $5.54 a day. The Gold Shell HS3 is at $5.33 a day. And scrolling down from there, we have the Antminer S19 Pro at $3.27 a day on mining rig rentals. But to be fair, it really isn't that. You're looking at $1.20 a day on Bitcoin, which is not good. That is the lowest margins ever. Obviously, we know why, right? Because we had Merkle basically throw a ton of hash rate onto the Bitcoin network. And of course, as you can see here, pretty much some of the highest difficulty. I think our all-time high this week was 270 exahash a second, something like that. Sitting at like 261, 264 exahash a second right now. It's absolutely simply insane. Let's get into questions and answers. We have some time for it today. So remember, super chats are never required. Always appreciated, first to be answered because they're the easiest to read. Please, if you wouldn't mind considering tagging that little like button, you can do what you want. You can hit it, you can scratch it, you can tickle it, however you feel it. You know, just do whatever feels right with the like button. And then go ahead and hit the share button out if you guys enjoyed the show and you think there's anything important for anybody. Good. I don't know. And there you go. Anonymous Miner says, that's something that can be tried. Chris Titus Windows debloat PowerShell script. I wouldn't run somebody else's PowerShell script. It's like, have you tried this dude's PowerShell script on your PC? No, I don't run other people's PowerShell scripts on my PC. Debloating is great though. Highly recommend it. Gamer Kid, thanks for the $2.99 super chat. Says, thanks for the great work you do. Thanks for watching and for the super chat. Alluvium Turk says, ask Summitech, what stops miners submitting fake shares to pretend they did the work when they didn't do anything? From submitting fake shares. That's an interesting question. I think it would have to do specifically, well, it's the nodes, right? So the nodes find consensus across all of the nodes. T Scott, it's a little bit more difficult than that, but if you want to, you can watch my old video on shares, difficulty, etc. that goes into more depth. T Scott says, that's Summitech, what are we going to do? We're going to go to a mining conference and have fun at the water park and make videos. I don't know. Andre says, at Summitech, what do you think of ETHW and the new NFTs? All right. So I've been thinking about NFTs, right? And there's no huge innovation in NFTs. I feel like we're in a bear market. When we go into the next bull run, the term won't be NFTs or DeFi. It'll be something different. It doesn't mean that the technologies aren't similar, because you could say like CryptoKitties blew up, in the last bull run, which is basically just NFTs, and NFTs just evolved CryptoKitties. And you could say that, ICOs were maybe to a certain extent a precursor to DeFi, because it allowed, individuals to invest in different projects without the interference of like anybody else or the stock market or Wall Street or whatever. And you could say that we're just going to have essentially some sort of evolution of those technologies. But seeing chains like, I don't know. I mean, even seeing chains like, seeing any small chain just be like, oh, we have DeFi and NFTs. It's like, okay, but what are you doing different, right? Like what I'm looking for is like, what is innovating that, right? That's what I'm looking for. And ETHW doesn't appear to really do that at this point. But they do have money behind them. XRP the Goat says, that's Summitech. I know it's the worst time to mine, but you scored two 3080 non-light hash rate cards for 800. Seems a good deal. Had to. Nice. Congratulations. Yeah, $400 a pop for some 3080s. Not too shabby. Of course, it's hard to tell how low the prices will get, because I feel like we haven't seen a lot of the coins come off the network yet. Leonardo says, at Summitech, the 2-miner graph for Ergo is likely causing the auto profit switching. Is likely the cause of auto profit switching. No. Because we're already talking about how to do this. You want to know how it's done? I can tell you how to game it. All you have to base it off of is the API that pulls the time to find a block, right? So if you are basically a miner, all you really got to do is do the API call for time to find a block. If the time to find a block is above 2 minutes, you turn off the miner. If the time to find a block is below 2 minutes, you turn on the miner. That's how you would do it. Nick G says, Tech took the MTO3 out last week for the first time. I'm absolutely hooked. Thanks for being a force and motivating me to get out riding. Congrats. I need to go get mine registered and go ride. MTO3s are fun. I have the MTO7. Yeah. No, I have the I have the MTO9. The FZ09, but the older one. Not the twin. The MTO3 is fun though, because you can flip it around or flick it around. All right. Let's see. Obsessive Modifier says, Tech, would you run something like an S9 Solo on Bitcoin instead of a USB miner? Would that be too much electric cost for the digital lottery in your opinion? Yeah, you need something that people can just plug into their computer and go. You know what I mean? And something cheap. Not the S9's not cheap, but it doesn't serve. It's loud, hot, and uses a lot of power. Elm says, Tech, are you currently staking Ergo Pad? Yes, I am. Yeti Crab says, Tech, I really appreciate the Raven NFT videos, but it was uncomfortably apparent they didn't know the answers or they were in over their heads. I think that that's fair. I think that they're specifically, focused on one thing and one thing alone. I thought they would have been, I'll be completely honest. I thought that because the way it came about is that there was a bunch of Ravencoin guys on Twitter, including, some people that were contacted with them, getting mad at me for being upset or not even being upset, but for me pointing out that essentially Ravencoin has some issues that I'm not sure about. Specifically, the questions that I have, which were also posted on this thread in Twitter, so I thought maybe we were going to get down to the bottom of it, is KYC on Ravencoin marketplaces, right? I get it. Peer-to-peer, you don't need it. Of course not. Nobody needs any KYC for peer-to-peer transactions on any single network, but then I have to trust the other guy to send it to me, right? Or like we could make a deal and say like, okay, you're going to send me this, I'll send you that or whatever with the peer-to-peer, but I still have to go out and find somebody. A marketplace is what is going to actually add adoption, okay? So my biggest concern was the KYC on there, and then how does layer one tokenization of NFTs, how is that better than smart contracts, right? Which I still don't think I have an answer to. So I know that I'm supposed to get hooked up with some guys that are going to be able to answer that. But they're really focused on like their project, selling their NFTs and doing that, which is great. I do think I need somebody more technical within Ravencoin to answer those questions for me, right? So like I said, what are the hurdles to getting away from like KYC marketplaces for NFTs on Ravencoin? And then what really does make, layer one non-smart contract tokenized assets on Ravencoin better than utilizing smart contracts, right? Because here's the thing that I also discovered with that. Like, smart contracts are going to allow the artist or the creator to have some sort of royalties, but royalties on NFT are all handled through a third-party marketplace that is centralized, which brings up huge concerns. So then, is there a decentralized way on Ravencoin to add in royalties? And if there's not, then that probably means that you are limited to the type of assets you would want to create as NFTs on that blockchain. All right, I think that's all the questions I have as articulated as I can get to right now. Obviously, if we can get somebody in the Ravencoin community that wants to come on and answer those questions for me, hell yeah, brother, let's go. Right? But those are the questions I have. Leonardo says, ask Summitech, could it be possible to create a mineable coin that limits miners from getting too large, preventing large farms from existing and encouraging decentralization further? I think that what we want to look at is the Ghost DAG protocol on Caspa and see how we could modify that in some way, because that seems to be incentivizing people closer and closer to that. Andre Morris says, ask Summitech, do you think Caspa has a great future? That, well, I was just talking about where I think it could work out. Okie doke. So, Rockport says, at Son of a Tech, why Ergo 1 giga hash at 10 cents is $15.95 Ergo a month and lose of $129.69 a month. That's not a strategy for success, not a bear market play. What are you talking about? There are, like, if you're, like, I'm not sure where you're calculating, you're getting your numbers, but like right now, I think it's probably nearly impossible for you to calculate. There's absolutely zero chance that you will 24/7 mine Ergo and make money right now. Right? There's zero chance. A lot has to change, but there's too much also going on the network for your hard numbers to ever be accurate right now. Should you buy, says, at Summitech, how hyped are you about the 7900 XT? Pretty, you know, I think I'm more hyped about Intel. I'm not going to lie. Yeti Crap says, at Summitech, do a Mango Farm video and hammer that KYC coverage. Yeah, I said I'm down with it. You know, have my people talk to their people. You know what I mean? Vinicius says, at Summitech, have you looked into Rosenbridge for Ergo on Discord dev channel? It looks like it's basically ready, just undergoing testing. No, I haven't looked at that yet. I've heard of it, but you know, I'm waiting as far as that's considered. Getting an A770, that's the plan, John. I want A750 is better. Actually, so I'll be getting both because I'm going to put them head to head for you guys. But I'm willing to bet that the A750 is probably a better buy. Chris says, that's Tech Voss did a video on a mining NFT backed by ASICs. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Detroit says, have the Intel GPUs been released? October 12th. They release on the same day as the 4090. I'm going to be stupid busy because basically I got to get some more parts and stuff sold. If you guys want to check out locals, I have some parts listed for sale. And then October 12th, yeah, I mean, I got to have like, what? Probably like $2 or $3 grand to get all the PC parts that I need for testing. And then we're going to be testing basically a shit ton. Oh my god, guys. Getting notifications on my phone and like trying to figure like what is it? I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get done what I need to get done. It's absolutely simply insane, boys. So it's October 12th for the RTX 4090 A in the A series. 4090, 4080 or 4080 12 gigabyte and the Intel Arc GPUs. So I'll be going to Micro Center and buying whatever I can afford to test. That's it. That's pretty much what we're going on. Rockport says, I calculated the Ergo on what to mine. If I'm going to mine a coin and lose, I want to bag coins. The Ergo project seems to be a huge cluster. Yeah, I'm telling you, like what to mine's not going to do. Look, what to mine's is not going to work for Ergo. Like it's not even like because there's nothing consistent on Ergo right now. Like it's not going to work for Ergo. You need to go like. Basically, there need to be like whole new calculators for Ergo. Right? Yeti Crab says, at Simon Tech, are there any miners that will support them? Support who? Oh, the GPUs? Don't know yet. Can't get it right. Says, ask Simon Tech, if you had 2K to spend, what cards would you get for the next season? Well, I mean, I am inherently, specifically a different type. Obviously, I'm about to try to spend $2,000 on GPUs that we don't even know how they perform. If I was going to spend 2K on GPUs, I would be looking for like what the best prices are out there. I'd lean probably towards 3070s, 6700s, A2000s. XRP, trying to pump XRP. Leonardo says, ask Simon Tech, could it be possible to create a mineable coin that limits miners from getting too large, preventing large farms from existing and encouraging decentralization further? Could it be possible to create a mineable coin that... We already answered that, I thought. Like I said, currently from a technology perspective, the closest to that is Ghostag protocol, which you can look at on Caspa. I think there would be potential there if you modified it to the point to where you were, if you sped up the network and all blocks were being solved at the same time, and then you somehow put in, I think, like an early block like Ergo had on pools, I think you could do it. I think. I don't think it stops the large... Okay. How do I put this? I don't think it stops the large farm problem, but I think it stops the low profitability for smaller miners due to large farm problem. But I'm also a dummy. Happy Dictator says, that Simon Tech picked up 3 2080 Ti's for $1,000. Congratulations, good sir. Any thoughts on Nimic and Bitcoin Z? Old and dead. Andre Morris says, at Simon Tech, what do you think about the new NVIDIA GPUs 4000 series to mining? From the they look bad, but you know, we'll have to test them. They got cut down memory buses. I mean, to the point to where the 3080 has a 192-bit bus. Like, what the hell? And then they require new power standards with the ATX 3.0. So you're going to have to upgrade your power supplies, which, you know, in the bear market, buying a brand new expensive GPU and then also buying an expensive, power supply, it doesn't make much sense. And that's going to wrap it up for me today. Be sure to hit the like, once again, comment, subscribe, notification bell down below. And I'm going to go hit jiu-jitsu. Then I'm going to come back and pack and head out to the mining conference. So once again, if you guys are going to be out there in Round Rock, hit me up. You can hit me up on locals at sonofatech.locals.com. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me, and we can hang out if you like for a little bit if I have some time. I do have some calls. I have some calls later today as well, so hopefully I'll be getting all of those sorted out. But I appreciate each and every single one of you for watching, and you know, I appreciate it a lot, especially more now than ever. And you know, we will catch you next Tuesday. I'm going to go train. See you next Tuesday. Catch you next Tuesday works too, though. Catch. See. See what I mean? It works.